yogis, thank you so much for joining me for another online 30-minute chakra flow class. So today's class is going to be based on the Svadhishthana chakra, or the sacral chakra, which is the second key chakra along the length of the spine. It's located just below the belly button, about 2 inches below the belly button. So to activate this chakra and to make sure we bring fresh energy to it today, we're going to be bringing in some twisting postures, some hip opening postures to allow the energy to travel there freely, and also plenty of core work today. So the core work is going to make sure that all the lower abdomen muscles are engaged, bringing the energy in towards the chakra. So having a balanced sacral chakra is important for lots of reasons. The primary purpose of the sacral chakra is emotional balance. So it is the energy house, the energy store for all of our passions, our joy. If we find that our sacral chakra is blocked, we may find that we're oversensitive about a lot of things. If we have it over-energized, we can find that we're emotionally unbalanced. So we're going to be working a lot with balancing these postures today. Move gently, make sure you have any props that you think you're going to need, get comfortable, and I hope you enjoy the class. Namaste. So we'll just come into our spinal warm-up to make sure we've moved the spine in all directions before we take it in any further. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit on your shins, you can extend your legs out in front or sit on a cushion, whatever feels good to you this morning. So you're going to start by bringing your right hand to the outside of the right hip. As we inhale, we extend up through those left fingertips. As we exhale, we side bend over to the right, maybe coming down onto the elbow, but ultimately staying grounded through both sit bones. Focus more on spiraling the chest up towards the ceiling. Connecting to your Ujjayi pranayama, breathing in and out slowly through the nose, creating a small restriction to the back of the throat on the exhale. As we inhale, we come back through center, reach up. Exhale, left hand to the outside of the left hip. Inhale, reach up through those right fingertips. As we exhale, we side bend over to the left. Again, maybe coming down onto that elbow, but focus more on grounding through the sit bones and spiraling the chest up towards the ceiling. Maybe even looking up as long as it's comfortable on the neck. As we inhale, we come through center. Exhale, right hand to the outside of the right hip, left hand towards the right knee. Inhale to draw up through the crown of the head. Exhale to twist, maybe beginning to look out over that right shoulder. So not forcing the twist here, just gentle dynamic movements. With each breath in, we create space, and with each exhale, we allow ourselves to go a little bit deeper into the posture. As we inhale, we come through center, reach up. Exhale, left hand to the outside of the left hip, right hand towards the left knee. Inhale to draw up and create space. Exhale to twist, maybe beginning to peek out over that left shoulder. And you never want to force yourself in a twist. The mobility of the spine should already be there. We're just using the gentle movements to allow ourselves to go a little bit deeper. Even if visually it looks like you're not twisting anymore, it's the intention of movement that will allow us to go that little bit deeper next time. As we inhale, we come through center, reach up. Exhale to release down. We'll come into our tabletop position. So on our hands and knees, bring your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, feet flat out behind you. As we inhale, we come into cat owl pose. Crown of the head comes up, chest forward, belly down, tailbone comes up. As we exhale, we do the opposite, coming into cat, rounding the spine, lifting and separating the shoulder blades as the crown of the head releases down. Do 2 more of each at your own pace, opening up through the front body as we inhale. And then as we exhale, we create space along the back body, opening up through the shoulders and the back of the neck. So always follow your own breath patterns, even if they don't follow mine. Make sure you're never forcing or restricting the breath in any postures. As we inhale, we come back to a neutral spine. We're going to come into our first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So make sure your palms are nice and flat, fingers spread wide. We're going to tuck the toes under and lift the sit bones up and back towards the ceiling so your knees can stay bent to start with. Focus more on a dynamic movement of pressing through the tips of the fingers, through the knuckles of the hands, stretching back through the tops of the arms, the shoulders, then the hips. Reach up towards the ceiling, and only from there, if you've got space along the backs of the legs, begin to extend the heels down. So avoiding the tendency to try and reach the heels down when your shoulders are still stacked over your wrists. Make sure you're nice and open through the spine and the chest. There should be no strain in the neck. And of course, your knees can stay bent throughout the whole practice. You never have to have your heels reaching the ground. It's just a good way of warming up the hamstrings if it's accessible to you. On your next breath in, look to the space between your hands. In as many steps as you need, we're going to walk forward, feet hips distance apart or wider, knees bent as we take a ragdoll position. So opposite hand to opposite elbow, or let your arms hang heavy as we bring some gentle movements through the spine. Just taking any intuitive movements that feel good to you here today. And when you're ready, release a hold of the elbows, staying strong through the feet and bent through the knees. Begin to roll up the spine, stacking one vertebrae at a time over your hips until your chin comes parallel with the floor. Samastiti. You can have your big toes touching with a little slither of gap between the heels, or feet hips distance apart. Your legs are engaged, your tailbone draws down, keeping your core engaged, your belly button drawing back and up towards your ribs. Shoulders up and away from the ears, palms face forward, chin parallel with the floor. We're going to take 3 rounds of Surya Namaskara A, Sun Salutation A. The first round I take will be modified. Stick with the modified version or add in some up level options as and when suits you. So as we inhale, we bring our arms up overhead, keep those shoulders away from the ears, palms parallel looking forward, belly drawn in, tailbone draws down. As we exhale, we bend the knees, hinge forward from the hips, bring the hands to the thighs, the shins, or towards the floor. As we inhale, we draw our palms up our legs, chest forward, shoulders rolling away from the ears, looking forward. As we exhale, bend the knees as much as we need to plant the hands, stepping back to plank, lower all the way down onto the belly. Knees can be lifted or lowered. As we inhale, we come up into baby cobra, palms underneath your shoulders, looking forward, chest forward. Exhale, release down, pressing up to tabletop, tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog, knees can be as bent or as straight as needed today. As we inhale, look forward to the space between the hands in as many steps as you need. Come forward to the halfway lift. If the legs are straight, keep the hips stacked over the heels. As we exhale, bend the knees as much as you need to fold forward, crown of the head releases down. As we inhale, bring the arms alongside the ears, coming up with a straight spine, keeping that core engaged, come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti to the front of the mat. Some different options this time. Inhale, arms up overhead. This time, maybe drawing the palms together, looking up towards the thumbs. Keep that tailbone drawn down. As we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips, bringing the hands down towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, keep the chest lifted, keep the gaze lifted, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, you can step, or if it's in your practice, jump back through Chaturanga. So coming back to plank, lower halfway down, shoulders no lower than elbows, cores engaged, knees are lifted. Inhale, you can roll over the toes or flip the feet, upward facing dog, arms are towards straight. As we exhale, we roll over the toes or flip the feet, downward facing dog, one full breath. If at any point downward facing dog feels too much, you can always come to a child's pose or a tabletop position. Make sure to rest when you need to rest. You should be able to maintain a steady breath throughout your whole practice. As we inhale, look forward, step, or if it's in your practice, you can float forward to the halfway lift. As we exhale, we fold, crown of the head releases down. Inhale, arms alongside the ear, keep the core engaged as we lift up, maybe look up, low ribs drawn in. Exhale, Samastiti. Last round, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. So if you jump back, make sure you land with bent elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, one full breath. Looking towards your toes, your knees, or your belly button. Keeping that core engaged as we focus on lifting our sit bones up towards the ceiling and melting our chest back towards our thighs. As we inhale, we look forward, step or float, so the halfway lift. As we exhale, the crown of the head releases down. Inhale, straight spine as we come all the way up, maybe look up. Exhale, Samastiti to the front of the mat. Okay, Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle. As we inhale, we step our right foot to the back of the mat. Right toes face the short edge of the mat. Left toes come in slightly, so the flat edge of the foot is parallel with the flat edge of the mat. Heel to arch alignment, arms out to shoulder height as we exhale. Inhale, draw up through the crown of the head, lengthen the spine. Exhale, reach forward with those right fingertips. Release the right hand to the thigh, the shin, the floor, or if you have a block, you can release it down to the block. You can look down towards that right big toe, or if it's comfortable on your neck, you can look up towards that top thumb. Opening up through the shoulders, nice and long through the neck. Nice steady breath. And we're going to move this into a slightly more core work focused practice today because we're working with our sacral chakra. So we're going to be focusing on bringing that energy to our low belly where our sacral chakra is located. So there's a couple of options we can take here. We can bring our left arm alongside the ear. This may feel like enough, or you can begin to bring your right arm along too, as if you're holding an imaginary beach ball between your arms. So already feel that core firing up. And then inhale, reach up, back through center. Quite intense, that posture. Bring the right toes in slightly, left toes out. Exhale, arms out to shoulder height. Inhale, create space, lift and lengthen. Exhale, reach forward with those left fingertips, thigh, shin, floor or block. And you can look down, or if it's comfortable on your neck, look up towards that right thumb. Nice steady breath, steady gaze, staying strong through your belly, keeping those legs engaged as well. Nice strong foundations here as we direct the energy inwards towards our pelvis. Opening up through the hips, allowing fresh travel for the energy to make its way towards our Svadhishthana sacral chakra. Okay, so we're moving into the core work. So the first option is to bring that right arm alongside the ear. This already feels intense. Or you bring your left arm out, holding that imaginary beach ball out to the side. Feeling the whole right side of the body beginning to activate. And then inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, release down, bring the left toes in slowly, right toes out. We're going to come into Paravita Trikonasana, revolved triangle. So you can have your heel to heel alignment. Make sure that that left foot comes in about 45 degrees. So set a diagonal angle. If you wanted to make the feet a little bit wider, bring the feet to hips distance apart. So we're going to move into a twisted triangle, revolved triangle. If this feels a little bit too intense, just come into a different variation of twist, or you can just come back into your triangle. Bring your right hand to the right hip as we inhale, extend up through the left fingertips, checking in that your hips are level to the front edge of the mat. As we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips, bringing that left hand to either the inside of the foot, the outside of the foot, or the shin or a block. So this may feel like an intense enough stretch already. If you wanted to take it deeper into a twist, you can begin to bring your right hand up towards the ceiling, maybe beginning to look up towards the right thumb. Trying to square off the hips, so notice if that right hip is shifting out, just gently bring it back in line with the left so they're facing the short edge of the mat. Grounding through the feet. Steady breath, steady gaze. Feeling that twist in your low belly allowing the energy to travel towards your Svadhisthana chakra. As we inhale, bring your right hand back to your hip, extending up through the left fingertips, coming back through center. Bring your right toes in, 45 degrees, left toes face the short edge of the mat. Heel to heel alignment or feet hips distance apart as we focus on squaring the hips to the short edge of the mat. You can bring your left hand to your hip, inhale, extend up through those right fingertips as we exhale, hinge forward from the hip, bringing that right hand to either the inside of the foot, the outside of the foot, the shin, or a block. You can stay here with your left hand on the left hip, or if you wanted to take it into a deeper twist, begin to extend that left hand up towards the ceiling. So it's quite an intense balance here. Move gently, staying strong through your core, keeping that left hip drawing back in line with the right. This just helps ensure that the twist is coming from the low belly as opposed to from the hips. And that's where we're directing all the energy. That's where we want the twist to come from. As we inhale, look down, bringing the left hand to the hip, reach up through the right hand, spiraling up. As we exhale, step back to the front of the mat, Samasthiti. Moving into Prasarita as we inhale, we step that right foot to the back of the mat. Toes come in slightly more than the heels, so the flat edges of the feet are parallel with the flat edges of the mat. Exhale, hands to hips. As we inhale, we reach up, extend through the crown of the head, lifting the chest, shoulders drawing away. As we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips. So we're coming down parallel with the floor. You can keep the hands on the hips here, beginning to feel that core waken up, the low belly. Or if you wanted to take it a little bit deeper into the core, you can bring your arms out to a capital T position, palms face down, making sure the weight is evenly distributed through the feet. If you wanted to take it even further, bring the arms alongside the ears, holding that invisible beach ball in front of you again. Feeling the core waken up, staying nice and strong through the feet, nice strong foundations as we create space for the energy to travel. As we inhale, bring our arms out to a capital T position. Bring the right hand down towards the floor, just grazing the fingertips along the floor as we twist, reaching that left hand up towards the ceiling. So it may not reach the ceiling, it may be sort of more towards parallel with the floor, but just staying light through those right fingertips as we focus on bringing the twist to our low belly. Exhale, come through center. Inhale, reaching up through those right fingertips. Exhale through center. Inhale, twisting, lifting the left fingertips. Just keeping light touch on the mat with those right fingertips. Exhale through center. Inhale, reaching up with the right fingertips. Do a few more at your own pace. Hopefully beginning to feel that core warmed up as we take some twists from above the belly, from above the waist. Take one more, lifting those right fingertips up. Come back through center, capital T. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, reaching with the chest, come all the way back up to center. As we exhale, Samasthiti to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the chest. As we exhale, we're going to sit into our chair pose, Utkatasana. So feet can be hips distance apart or toes touching with a little bit of space between the heels. We're going to move into a twist. So as we inhale, we lengthen, lift the chest, shoulders draw away. As we exhale, bring the left elbow to the outer edge of the right knee. Moving our twist to the right, keeping those hips low, keeping the weight evenly spread. So making sure that there's weight in the heels and you've got mobility in the toes. As we inhale, come through center. Exhale, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And just keep the hips level. Notice if that left hip is beginning to reach back, keep it back and in line with the right. Keep the mobility in the toes, even distribution of weight. Parivita Utkatasana. Inhale, come through center and extend up. Exhale, release. Samastiti. We're going to come into our balancing posture, Virabhadrasana C, Warrior 3. So I recommend here that you come to sort of the center of the mat, so you've got a little bit of space to work with. We're going to start, actually it might be easier to start at the back of the mat. You're going to start by stepping your right foot to the middle of the mat, staying light on the back toes as we fold forward. So you can bring your hands together in prayer pose in front of you. As you begin to lift, maybe the foot comes off the floor an inch or two. Maybe you can begin to bring that leg parallel with the floor. Okay, you can stay here, or if you wanted to get into your core even more, bring your arms alongside the ears so you look like a capital T position. Take one more breath in. Exhale, step that left foot back, coming to the back of the mat. Release the arms. Inhale, step that left foot forward, staying light on the right tippy toes. As you begin to hinge forward, maybe that right foot begins to lift up off the floor an inch or two, or you can begin to bring it parallel with the floor. Keep the palms together at the heart center, or beginning to extend them alongside the ears, looking down, keeping that core engaged. Steady breath, steady gaze. And then as we inhale, gently step back, reach up. Exhale, release. And we'll come through to our seated position. So you can come through a vinyasa or just come down to seat. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale through to seated. So you can either drop to the shins, sit the weight back on the hips, sit the hips back to the heels, or right knee to right wrist, left knee to left wrist, cross the ankles and sit through. Fantastic. So we're going to take Navasana, boat pose, which is our little bit of core work. We're going to take 3 rounds of boat with a little rest in between to make sure we lengthen through the front body. So coming onto your sit bones, bring your knees in towards your chest so you're light in the toes. You can stay here if this feels like enough, or begin to extend one foot at a time towards parallel. You can keep the hands on the backs of the thighs if this helps you stay lifted through the chest, or you can begin to extend the arms out to the side, palms face up. If as soon as you let go of the thighs this happens, instead stay lifted. Keep the hands on the backs of the legs. Take one more breath in this one. Exhale, release. Might feel nice to bring the hands to the knees as we open up through the front body. Just ensuring that with all this contracting we're doing of the core, we're re-lengthening it. So we're making sure we're creating space as well as contracting these muscles. Second round. Okay, so you can take the same variation or you can play around, maybe take a different one. If you're feeling it today, you can begin to extend the legs towards straight. Take one more breath in. Exhale, release. Maybe bring the hands to the hips, opening up through the front body. Last round. Last breath in, exhale to release. Take a little stretch here. Fantastic. And we're going to move into Marichyasana C, Sage Marichi's pose, which is our little twist. So we're going to begin to extend our legs out in front. We're going to bring our right knee in towards our chest. We're going to have a little bit of space between the foot and the thigh, about a fist distance of space, so the heel is in line with the hip joint as opposed to being in line with the left leg. You're going to bring your right hand to the outside of the right hip or towards the spine as you exhale. As you inhale, you reach up through those left fingertips. You can twist, beginning to bring the left hand towards the knee or the outer edge of the elbow towards the outer edge of the knee, palm faces out. As we inhale, we draw up through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we twist a little bit deeper and beginning to look out over that right shoulder. Just ensuring, again, we're not forcing the twist. We're just gently opening up. Small, subtle movements with each breath in, and with each exhale, we maybe allow ourselves to go a little bit deeper. Keeping that left leg nice and engaged, toes flexed back towards you. Now, as we inhale, look to center. Exhale to unwind and release. Inhale, bring your left knee in. A little bit of space between the foot and the thigh again, so foot's in line with the hip. Left hand to the outside of the left hip or towards the spine. As we inhale, reach up through those right fingertips. As we exhale, we twist, hand towards the knee or outer edge of the elbow towards the outer edge of the knee, palm faces out. As we inhale, we lift through the crown of the head. As we exhale, we twist. Maybe beginning to look out over the left shoulder. Gentle movements. Never force a twist. Allow the twist to come from the low belly, bringing and drawing that energy in towards our sacral chakra. You can visualize it as that orange energy traveling all the way in to that beautiful spinning disc. As we inhale, look to center. Exhale to unwind and release. We're going to come to lay down on our backs. We're going to take Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. So we're going to bring our heels in towards our sit bones. Hips, knees and ankles are all in line, so they're not falling out to the side. Toes come in slightly so that the flat edges of the feet are parallel with the flat edges of the mat. The knees aren't drawing out to the side. Palms alongside the body, face down. As we inhale, we move the pelvis into a posterior tilt, lifting the hips, bringing the chest towards the chin, and then beginning to extend the chin away from the chest. So you can stay here, or you can roll onto the tops of the shoulders, interlacing the fingers behind the back, getting a chest expansion as well. Even distribution of the weight through the feet. Notice if the legs are beginning to splay out to the side. Draw the knees in together, spiral the inner thighs down as if you were holding a block between the legs. Drawing the tailbone and the sit bones down towards the backs of the knees. Take one more breath in. Exhale to unbind and release. Very gently, one vertebrae at a time. As we inhale, bring our knees in towards our chest, brings our arms out to a capital T position, palms face down. Exhale to lower the knees over to the right. You can look up towards the ceiling or you can look over towards the left fingertips. Getting a lovely twist through the belly. As we inhale, come through center, exhale over to the left. As slowly and as with control as you can, using that last little bit of core strength to get you stable in this posture. Maybe beginning to look out over towards the right fingertips. Beginning to deepen the breath. And as we inhale, bring the knees back to center. Give them a little squeeze into your chest and then release them down, bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to fall open to the side. Bring your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your belly. Feeling your body fresh with all this new powerful energy. To your Svadhishthana chakra, feel yourself filling with this powerful orange energy. With each breath in, watch it journey all the way to the space just below the belly button. Feel your creativity beginning to flow, your passions, your joys beginning to spread throughout your entire body. gently bring your knees back to center. You can use your hands to help if you need to. And then extend your legs out in front, beginning to release into your Shavasana. Take any last movements that your body needs here. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Gently tip the chin towards the chest, creating length along the back of the neck. Feel heavy and supported by the earth beneath you. Release your core, release your Ujjayi Pranayama, and allow your gentle, natural breaths to return. Avoiding forcing your breath any particular way, any thoughts or judgments, any recurring mind chatter, let it go and allow yourself to stay present, stable and supported for as long as you have time for today. I recommend you stay in your Shavasana for at least 5 minutes if you have the time. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. As you go forward, I wish you peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. Namaste.